Thank you. I understand in my former treatise, I was talking about how we are wired sometimes not to make covenants, and we are so weak in establishing them. So I think in this presentation, I want to attend to some of the areas that can help us navigate on that spiritual route and the spiritual journey. And I'm going to be dealing with maybe a direct issue over covenants versus contracts, so that we can understand the difference and we can know the difference. Because it is difficult for a person really to differentiate between a covenant and a contract. So that difference has to be understood so a person can know exactly what to do. But maybe while I'm dealing with it, I should make it plain that I'm talking about biblical covenants and also separating them from worldly or secular covenants, because there's a hard commitment in covenants which you will not find in contracts. There is a level of commitment that you will not find in contract, which is in covenants only. And you have to understand why covenants, relationships are essential. And they are actually very essential in the spiritual lineage or in the spiritual family. So the Bible is a lot of scriptures that show us things to do with covenants, because biblical covenants and worldly contracts, they serve a different purpose. Because a covenant is based on a relationship and a commitment, while a contract is just basically transactional. So you find that a contract is not really a relationship, though people qualify them as relationships. But a contract is basically a transactional engagement. So I'm going to try to share with you what the differences are over the contracts and the covenants. So the word covenant you find in the scripture is in the Hebrew word berith, which says it is a binding agreement. It is a sacred commitment that is made before God. It's a binding agreement, something that when one has involved themselves in it, they are considering themselves to be in a binding agreement. So whether no one is seeing them or nobody is with them, they should just know that that thing is what they have. They're bound by it. It is what you get bound by, and you're bound by it because that's a covenant you are in, and you've made it before God. So it is made before people, and it is also made before God. So it is binding. Convictionally, you're bound by it. No one should hold. No one is going to come to you and say you've broken a law, but you just know that you are punished or you are guilty from within your own heart when a covenant is not honored. So that's a binding agreement which is sacred, which is holy, which is revered. So that you find that even in the Greek terminology, it is defined as a testament or an irrevocable pledge. An irrevocable pledge that cannot just be changed by a person's thought. And I don't know what to begin. So covenants with that heavy and with that spiritually weighing, that they are considered as irrevocable pledges. So when even God has said certain things in the scriptures, he would make sure he honors that word, because that's what a covenant, that's the nature of a covenant. They are irrevocable pledges, irrevocable commitment. And I think in day and age, you don't find such things so standing, and you find them maybe in few people, because people are so quick to say things that they have not even pondered upon, and they are so quick even also to get out from anything that they have also bound themselves in. So you find that that's the reason we have marriages breaking faster, because people are quick to break and just walk out of a thing, because today they feel it and tomorrow they don't feel it that way. They are being driven by their emotional attitude for the day. They feel it and then they don't feel it tomorrow. So they are pushed and moved by those elements each and every day. But when you want to consider a covenant, you must know that it is an irrevocable pledge. Now, when you get to a contract, this is just, sometimes it's a legal agreement between parties with the different defined obligations. It's so clear exactly that what is somebody bringing in, what is somebody gaining from it, how long will it last. So there are defined obligations when you get to talk of a contract. So it is so clear, the demands, the obligations, it is so clear that what am I getting out of it. So it's different from a covenant where you are entering into a relationship where it's till death either do us part. So people are into a lifelong commitment. But when it is a contract, there is a period, there are defined obligations. So the Jewish people, they would know that a covenant is sacred. It is sealed, or it was sealed by a sacrifice, and it would carry generational weight. So when the first learners heard about the covenant from the Jewish understanding, they were taught that this is a sacred institution, a sacred relationship that you are binding or you're getting into with that individual and with God. And you seal it by a sacrifice. And I think some traditions understand these things. They are mostly African communities. They understand the elements of the covenants, that it is sacred and it is sealed by a sacrifice. There is a token of a sacrifice that is given, that is, or maybe if it is killed, or if it can be something that is alive, the blood is shed. There is a sacrificial commitment that is given for a covenant. And it is not just going to end in between the two. It carries generational weight. It goes beyond and over generations. So now, when you get to the contract, these were just legal agreements enforced either by the state that the people have agreed, and this is what they have agreed to come to. And what God is doing in this season is God is establishing covenants based on love and commitment, not legal obligations. That's why you find, for you to know that you were in a covenant, or for you to know that you were not in a covenant, you were in a contract, you find somebody holding on to legal agreements. They will try to engage the legal side. They'll try to get involved, the lawyers, the police. You don't see people in covenants getting to engage any of the state, because they are basically sacred. They are honored by the sincerity of your sacredness, or how you value sacred things. So most people, as much as the marriage is getting to become enforced by the state, the challenge I have seen is that no matter what it has happened, no matter what it has done, you find the next moment the couple is before the courts. this one is saying this, I want this, and I want him to be sued. That's when you then know it was not a covenant. So when we are marrying people in church, we are not doing the contract. We are saying these people are engaging themselves, involving themselves in a covenant. And the fact that the people are there doesn't make that become weaker to that extent. So I feel the more we talk about these things, it helps people to understand that why people hold on to legality. It tells you that they were never into a covenant, they were in a contract. So they engage the state. This one is taking this person to the court. This one is taking this person to the lawyers. This one is taking this person. The parents are taking the children to the court. The children are taking the parents to the court. The wife is taking the husband to the court. The husband is taking the wife to the court. The brother is taking an uncle to the court. So this way, these people are weak in understanding how covenants are established. But God is not up for that. God wants us to establish covenants based on love and commitment, not on legal obligations. So I think as we get to this topic and discuss so much about it, you have to know that covenants involves deep and lasting commitment. These deep and lasting commitments that are beyond contracts, that are beyond legal bindings, that are because when a person is in a contract, they're afraid of the legal implications. You know, the person may stay much longer. I've seen people get into these kind of marriages. They know that they have to stay there maybe for the 55 years until maybe something has happened, and then after this period is lapsed, then the other one is allowed to move on and do anything of their lives. So there's such clauses getting into some of these matrimonial or expected to become matrimonial engagements. So covenants involves deep, lasting commitment. If you look into the scriptures, maybe as we are going to open the scriptures in other sessions, I'll be glad to share with you the extent to which covenants go to, because covenants, they require loyalty, they require faithfulness that is beyond legal duty. They require loyalty. You know, loyalty is not something that you can get because somebody's afraid of being sued, somebody's afraid of losing their job, somebody's afraid to lose their car or that property that they've been promised. But this is what loyalty is, the fruit of their heart. Loyalty defines the genuinity of their heart. So, because loyalty is tested in many things. So covenants, they require loyalty. They require one to be loyal. They require faithfulness beyond legal duty, because there is a lot that is expected to you. So unless you are just maybe in a contract, that's where you are going to do things according to duty and expectations and demands that are laid before you. So God's covenant with these people were based on his character, not performance, because God himself is love. God himself is a covenant keeper. So these covenants were based on his character, because God would be entering the covenant by himself, not by just his attributes, because some people, you cannot trust their performance, but if you trust their character, you trust who they are. So even if today they are not able to do something, but you know that this is not who they are, so you are believing in God's nature, in the nature of God. So God enters into covenant based on his character, based on who he is. And I think this is something that you have to look at when you get an opportunity to engage at a covenant level with anybody. don't base on a person's performance, because performance can be practiced, performance can be rehearsed, performance can be deceiving. But when you know this is the individual's character, it is now another level, it is now set differently. So I pray that we have to have a deeper understanding of the difference between a covenant and a contract. So just now, maybe as I'm closing on this concept, I think covenant relationships form the foundation of the spiritual lineage. They form that, and they form the foundation of spiritual lineage. They form the foundation of generational generations that are to be created, because there is a deep and long-lasting engagements that are in them. So believers should know that contracts are based on worldly standards, worldly obligations, legal obligations, where when you don't pay for certain things, you are evacuated, maybe from a certain property, you are evacuated. And when you don't meet up certain payments, you are taken to the court, you are arrested, because those are the standards that are set in there. And I think this is where we have to have a deeper understanding of the things that are called for us in the walk of our spiritual life or with God, because covenants are strong because they are centered on relationships, and covenants are stable because they are led or they are driven in faithfulness. And one knows that a covenant is as God as a witness, and that's an unbreakable promise. So it is a life one will decide to live by honor and integrity. So when you want to be strong and to be a strong person in your life, you have to understand that covenants are made of, the commitment of covenants is done from the heart. The approach is with sincerity and integrity. There is an integrity kind of an approach. And you have to be somebody who value relationships over obligation. You are seeking lasting bonds, not temporary benefits. Because you may benefit today, but you are losing the relationship. I've seen people who gain from something over a day, and then they lose the relationship. And I have been taught over the years when I was growing in ministry that it's better to lose an argument and than to lose the relationship. So most people, they can win an argument and lose the relationship. What is more important is the relationship. So that's why a person cannot apologize and say, I'm sorry. They want to win the argument, but they are losing the relationship. So when you're focusing on what is the priority thing there, and people who want to walk in covenants, they honor their word. Their yes is their yes, and their no is no. No matter it disappoints the other person, but the person knows that once they have agreed, it's good, they're going for it. But once they've said no, they're not in for it. So there is faithfulness that is required even in difficult moments, because true covenants or genuine covenants endure trials. Trials will come through, but when a trial comes, it sometimes exposes what was a covenant and from what was not a covenant. So once those things happen in life, they expose those things. So I want you to recognize the spiritual impact that your covenant will have, because if you don't understand that covenants have spiritual impact which will influence the future generation. So this is how you have to understand and how to define these two elements. So this is where we end our presentation today, and begin again on the other sessions that are to come. Thank you so much for tuning in and connecting on these sessions.